Okay, the next thing we're going to work on here is opening up a raw file in Photoshop and getting it to look the way we want. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to Bridge, and I'm going to pull out a DNG file from someplace. Let's see, why don't we grab this one here, double click. It'll open up Camera Raw in Photoshop. And I got a slow computer. Oh, there we go. Now it's all right. So what I usually do is I usually hit Auto first. Because what Auto does is it opens up the shadows, and it does some other things in the whites and the blacks and the highlights. And then I bring it back down again. And that looks about right there. So as you can see, the contrast has been added +8. The whites are now +41. The blacks are -3. So sometimes what I'll do, I mean, I'll from time to time, I usually don't use this. I usually go through Lightroom. But if I was doing it here, I don't want to, let's say, bake this in, because as soon as I do that in Camera Raw, when I put it into Photoshop and I do any more work, it's just going to add noise to it and everything else. So I'm going to just, having done that auto part there, and I know that the color temperature looks fine, so I'm just going to open this image up. Come on, open up, let's go, Photoshop. Yeah, it's been running us a little slow today. Okay, here's the image. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Image Adjustments, and I'm going to play with the hue and saturation a little bit. Let's see. No, actually, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to, where was it? Let's see, Vibrance instead. So I'm going to add a little bit of saturation, probably 15. I'm going to add a little bit of vibrance, at about the same amount. And that looks about right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this and come down a little bit on the top, and a little bit on the left, and a little bit on the right, and a little bit up from the bottom. And that looks pretty good for me. Now I would, like I said before, if I was going to output this to the web, I would resize this, so I might as well just try that now and show you what I'm talking about. Change this to, I want to make sure that resample is turned on. Resolution has been changed to, getting changed to 72. And I'm going to change the width to 10 inches. Hit OK. And bring this up to 100% so I know what I'm looking at. Okay, that's what it's going to look like on the web. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to the Unsharp Mask. Oops. Go to Unsharp Mask down here. And usually I don't want it to, I mean, it's already pretty darn sharp, but I'm going to knock it down a bit to 19. And for the internet, this is really pretty good as far as sharpness goes. Now, and then I would save this out. Now, if I was going to do this for, I'm going to step back here. Oh, where's my, I'll go right into the history brush, or history rather. And I'm going to go to crop. Oops. Now, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do this for print. If I was going to print this out on my Epson printer, I would go to the image size. I'm going to leave it alone, but I'm going to change the resolution to 240, which is what Epson suggests for the resolution for their printers. I'm going to go in here to Filter, and I'm going to use Unsharp Mask here as at 35. Because when I output this, I'm going to go to another program, and I'm going to, it's a plugin, and I'm going to set the sharpening for output, which is completely different because it has to do with size of the print and a lot of other things, which I will get into later. Okay, that is it. That is raw processing from Bridge to Photoshop. It's actually pretty easy. There isn't a lot of hard work involved. In this one, I didn't do anything with the white balance at all. But when you shoot in RAW, you have so much more control over what you can do to the image. If I wanted to change the white balance, I could have gone in and I could have really messed around with the white balance a lot. That being said, you don't want to do too much heavy-handed work unless the color balance is way off. And if it's way off, you might want to change it to black and white. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in and I'm going to convert one of these pictures to black and white. Open this up in Photoshop, and I'm going to go up here to, I'm going to get rid of the crop marks. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is a JPEG. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to try and make sure that everything looks all right with this. I hit auto just to see if everything's working out right. Come on, you can do it. Now I'm going to take this down a little bit because it's a little bit bright. And then I'm going to go up here to image, and you can go here and just do grayscale, and it will grayscale the image for you. But the control you have over this being a grayscale is not as strong as if you were back in RGB mode in color. Oops, wait a minute. Did something wrong there. Let's go back to the beginning. Go to open. This is a JPEG. And I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go to adjustments, and then I'm going to go down to black and white. What this gives me here is it gives me much more latitude as far as controlling this image goes. Now if I go in here, I can give this a little bit more contrast like that, and add a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Come on. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this. Bring this down from the top a little bit. Black and whites look so much better when they have more contrast to them. You don't want a real gray image. What you're looking for is, I haven't talked to you about the zone system yet, but you want a good range from light to dark. So we've got some bright whites here, we've got some blacks down here, and we've got some good midtones in his face. So anyway, that's how we change it over to black and white. And I do quite a bit of black and white now. I don't know why, but I'm in black and white mode. So anyway, we can talk about this in class. That's it for processing raw images.